Greetings, Cap fans, and welcome to episode 112 of the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast. I am your host, Rick Verbanis, and I am joined by the best gosh darn co-host out there. That is Mr. Bob Lucius. Hey, Bob. Now, Woody, he's been my pal for as long as I can remember. He's brave, like a cowboy should be, and kind and smart. But the thing that makes Woody special is he'll never give up on you, ever. He'll be there for you, no matter what.
Okay, you got me. Okay. I know where it's from. I know it's Toy Story.
Yeah. Which Toy Story do you think you know?
I have no idea. It sounds like it would have to be the original.
Actually, it's Toy Story 3.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So Andy's talking
that one.
Andy's talking about Woody and the characteristics of Woody. But quite frankly, it sounds like I could have been talking about Steve Rogers.
Nice connection.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, he's brave, he's smart, he's kind, and he never gives up on you ever, and he'll always be there for you. And I kind of was thinking about that when, reading Captain America Central Liberty number 6, which came out just, a week or two ago, while recording this. And I don't want to give anything away. Listen,
no.
Skip 30 seconds if you don't want to hear about this. But Steve didn't give up on Bucky. Nope. No matter what was going on in that particular story, Steve wasn't gonna give up on Bucky. And I don't know, that quote kind of reminded me of that. Yeah. But more importantly, that quote is to Toy Story 3. Now, what happened? When did Toy Story 3 come out, Bob?
Was that the recent one? I don't know.
Oh my God, Bob.
I gotta be honest with you, Rick. I have not followed the Toy Story mythos as closely as I should.
Okay. Yeah. No. Well, we do this little thing where I do the opening and it usually ties into the comic that we're covering today. So when do you think it came out, Bob?
Well, now you've got me, if you'd asked me this the last time we recorded issues 1 and 2, I probably could have told you. Was it around 2007? I don't know. 2011?
Yeah. Okay. Way to create a range there.
between like 2007 and the present.
No, it came out 2010.
2010.
Yes, Bob. So this particular,
so I was in there. I really targeted.
Way to nail it down. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it had a cover date of August 2010, and I'm talking about Captain America, Black Panther, Flags of Our Father, number 3, because we're covering 3 and 4. Which, listen, if you didn't hear last episode, you're gonna be a little lost. Okay, go back to last episode 111, because we cover Flags of Our Father 1 and 2. Now we're going to finish the story with issues 3 and 4. Issue 3 had a cover date of August 2010, but it had a release date of June 3rd, 2010. What was the number 1 movie in June of 2010, Bob?
I don't know, Rick.
We were just talking about Toy Story 3.
Was it Toy Story?
Oh my God.
That was the number 1 movie?
In June of 2010. Yeah.
It's hard for me to believe that an animated film was the number 1 movie as a summer flick, but okay.
That happens all the time.
Does it? I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, really... kids are out of school. Yeah, that's a perfect time to take.
I take my kid to documentaries, man. I don't.
Yeah, documentaries about Wakanda.
Whatever.
Yeah. Here are the top 10 movies that came out in. They didn't come out, but top 10 ranked movies as far as gross dollar sales in June of 2020. You want to hear them?
Absolutely.
All right. Number 1, Toy Story 3. Number 2, The Twilight Saga: Eclipse.
Missed it.
Yeah, me too. I haven't seen any of the Twilight movies. Have you?
Nope, haven't.
Yeah. Number 3, Karate Kid. This was the remake, I guess.
Oh yeah, my kid loved watching that one on cable.
I
watched that like probably a dozen times.
Okay. Number 4, Grown Ups. Adam
Okay.
Sandler movie
Yeah.
with a bunch
Yeah.
of his friends.
That was the original, right? Was that the
Yes.
original? Yeah. I
Uh-huh.
mean,
Yeah.
they've had like two sequels. Those are
Have
funny
they?
movies.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I haven't
Yeah.
seen those either.
Yeah.
5, The A-Team,
Hmm.
another reboot.
Yeah.
Number 6, Night and Day, Night with a K. I don't even know if I've heard of that.
I don't think
7, Get Him to the Greek.
didn't
8,
see it.
Killers. 9, Marmaduke. And 10, Splice.
Splice. Oh,
I
that was
gotta
that
say,
science fiction one,
I don't know.
right? Yeah.
I out of these 10, I only saw Toy Story. That was it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't seen
I,
any of these other
I
movies.
don't think I've seen that one, but I did see Grown Ups, and I saw what was the other one? I saw the Karate Kid remake. Yeah.
Excellent.
All right.
All right,
Huh.
cool.
Guess I was busy that June.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we are going to, before we get into Flags of Our Fathers, number 3, I gotta put something out there, Bob.
Put it out there, Rick. Just let it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I
Unburden
know I've
yourself.
mentioned this before, but we haven't gotten a review on Apple Podcasts since September 13th. So it's been a couple of months, Bob. And I'm starting to wonder here.
Mhm.
What do we got to do? We have
Yeah.
do another contest or something? I don't know.
Right. Right. We might have to. I mean, it's taking its toll on you, Rick. I mean, folks, you can't see it, Rick. I mean, you should see Rick. He's sitting in
I
the
used to
dark.
have luscious hair.
He had luscious hair. He's pale. He looks like Emperor Palpatine on Exegol. I mean, come on.
Oh, oh,
He's
was that
taking
was
his.
that was that a product plug? What are you making some money on the side here? What the hell was that?
You're breaking the man. Come on, help him
Uh,
out. Help us out here with some reviews.
yeah. So go to Apple Podcasts, and give us a 5-star review, and we will read it here on the air.
We'll even read it with funny voices if that's what it takes.
God knows I do enough of them.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Oh, Bob.
That's it. That's it, Rick. That's the hook. Leave a comment and tell Rick what Captain America character you want him to read it as.
Oh boy. All right.
Yes.
All right. Challenge on. Yes. You can pick whichever voice you would like to do it. Now it does have to somehow tie into Captain America. So be a Captain America character of some sort. And I would be happy to do that. I like it. All right, Bob. So we next episode.
Mhm.
Can I tell the listeners now who our guest is going to be?
No, I don't think so. I think they got to hang on.
All right. So at the end of the episode, we will tell our listeners who our next guest is going to be, which is going to be episode 113.
Yeah, and I think and it's definitely worth the wait because we've already recorded that episode, Rick, and it was amazing.
It was.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
Yeah, it was great. So they're definitely, if folks, you're going to want to hang around, and by hang around, I don't mean hit fast forward. Hang around, listen to the episode, and then get the good stuff at the end.
Excellent. All right, so let's get into this issue. All right, so it is Black Panther, Captain America, Flags of Our Fathers, number 3, as I mentioned, release date June 3rd, 2010, cover date August 2010. Cover, this time is a little different. It's still Dennis Cohen. He's still the penciler, but it's inked this time by a Sandu Florea. And then the writer is still the same, Reginald Hudlin. Penciler still the same, Dennis Cohen. But instead of Claus Johnson as the inker, it is Tom Palmer. So we'll have to go through this, Bob, and see if it looks a little different. I'm guessing it's going to be less sketchy, maybe a little tighter, as Tom's inks tend to be. The colorist, letter, and editor are still the same. So that's Pete Pantanis, Joe Sabino, Sebastian Greiner, and Axel Alonso. Should I read the solicitation?
Absolutely.
I don't know if this is the actual solicitation. It doesn't sound like it, but I'm going to read it anyway. It's all out action as Captain America and the Black Panther wage total war against the Red Skull and his superpowered Nazi platoon. Master Man, Warrior Woman, and the Armless Tiger Man all attack Wakanda. Cap squares off with Master Man. Warrior Woman drops from the sky, straddling a Nazi bomb. She is engaged by the Black Panther, who runs his plane into her. Meanwhile, Tiger Man attacks T'Chaka and Sion. He quickly subdues T'Chaka and promises to kill him if Wakanda does not surrender. Dun, dun, dun.
All right.
So on the cover here, Bob, so the first two issues had just Cap and Black Panther kind of charging, towards the reader in various forms with explosions going on behind them. This one, there's still explosions going on behind, but it is a battle. It is Black Panther versus Master Man and Warrior Woman versus Captain America. Now, Captain America, he's got his heater shield. Now, what does that mean? It's the triangular one, right? The one with the point at the bottom and the 3 points at the top, with the stripes that go vertically and the 3 stars at the top. So he's got that, and he's also got his old school uniform, right? That's got that's open around his neck, right? It's not covered up. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the other differences as well. Black Panther. Now, this isn't T'Challa. This isn't even his father, T'Chaka. This is his grandfather, King Azuri, and he's got a classic Black Panther uniform on with a cape and that high cowl behind him, and he's got these really dangerous looking sickles that he is using to fight Master Man. Master Man, for those who aren't familiar with the character, he's a Nazi. He's an Aryan, blonde hair, blue eye, very large man. Perhaps, I wouldn't say he's a Superman level, but he is incredibly strong. He's probably, up there with, I don't know, maybe Thor, perhaps, maybe at that level. He's wearing a uniform that is head to toe, like a dark gray, but then he's got this big Nazi symbol on his chest with red behind it with a black cross. And he's got some gauntlets too. And then there's Warrior Woman. Bob, I'm going to let you describe what Warrior Woman is wearing. And I love, as soon as I said that, Bob looked over his shoulder to make sure his wife wasn't anywhere nearby.
That's not true, Rick. It's a good story. I was actually like, my cat wants out, but I like your story better. Because I'm not smart enough to look behind me to see if she's listening. Well, I should be at this point after 18 years of marriage. So yes, this is one of Warrior Woman's more conservative outfits, but you only see her really from the upper thighs to her head. And of course, from the waist up, she's wearing a very tight black, almost looks like a leather armor sort of a bodice. Nice, Rick. I'm glad that we
Twinsies.
came up with that at the same time, right? She's got what looks like a Sam Brown, which is that leather belt that goes crosswise across her torso, right? She's got a leather collar on, I'm not quite sure what purpose that serves, but I like it. It appears she is wearing some sort of black briefs with a big black belt around that. Again, I like it a lot. And she's got, of course, her signature whip. And she's wearing a looks like a black SS garrison cap, the one with the visor. So yes. All in all, it really is tastefully done with the black lipstick. Just a sharp dressed woman. Rick, I do want to point out something. I'm
listening.
Yeah. So you talked about Master Man, and if I'm not mistaken, Master Man's an American, right?
I don't know. His name is Wilhelm Lomer.
Yeah, I know, but he was, if I'm not mistaken, an American. He was part of the American Bund, the German American Bund, which we heard so much about in the Golden Age. That's in the first few issues of the Golden Age Captain America. He often went up against the Nazi sympathizers of the German American Bund, which was a
at least in the comic book world, a front, for German Nazi spies, in the homeland of the United States, trying to sabotage the war effort. And if I'm not mistaken, I seem to recall he was a member of that organization.
Well, now that you pointed out, yeah, I'm looking it up, and he was born in New York.
There you go. Right. That was just rattling around in the back of my head, but I remember being surprised when I read his origin story. I can't remember where that was, but I think a lot of folks don't know that, so I did want to bring that up.
Ah, that's cool. Yep, good to know. Okay, so we're gonna get to the opening title page, and should I? You know what? I'm gonna read the recap because it's been a week since people listened to the last episode, so I'll do a little recap here.
Yeah.
The Howling Commandos, led by Sergeant Nick Fury and Captain America, are sent on a secret mission to the African nation of Wakanda, which has stood alone against the armies of foreign invaders for centuries. Leading the Wakandan army is the Black Panther. As king of the country and symbol of its people, he leads them to victory even over the mighty Nazi war machine. The secret of their strength lies in the power of the mystic metal vibranium, which can be found only in Wakanda. Captain America and the Howlers aid the Black Panther in battle and are invited to stay as guests. However, Nick Fury is wary of the Nazi threat and what it would mean for the world if the Reich gained possession of the power of vibranium. For that is exactly what the Red Skull, leader of the Nazi campaign to overthrow Wakanda, is planning. And he's brought along a team of Nazi superhumans to achieve his goal. So we cut to the next page, and we see a young Aryan Nazi soldier suffering on the battlefield, yelling with his eyes wide open. And standing over him are Sergeant Fury, his commandos, and some Wakanda soldiers. Your wounds are pretty bad. And then there's a Wakanda soldier behind him translating it in German for him. I'm not going to do that. Those kind of injuries, if that happened to you in downtown Berlin, right next to a hospital, you'd lose a limb or two. But if you're going to get near fatal injuries in the middle of the jungle, you did it in the right place. Wakanda's got medicine that will have you polka dancing in no time. But that only happens if, and I mean if, you tell us exactly where your base camp is and who your commanding officer is. If you don't spill your guts to us with everything you know, well, your guts will spill out anyway in the dirt right here. And the soldier looks at Fury and the Wakanda next to him, who's been translating, and says in German, "Is this animal in charge?" And the Wakanda soldier says, "He is in charge of you. Yes, you can cooperate or die." Meanwhile, back at the royal palace, it's safe. And the queen and the two sons come out of their hiding place. Fresh air again. And if you remember, the two boys were fighting before. And I get to put some space between me and, watch out, fool. You almost tricked mother. Shut up. And they start fighting and kicking, and the mom gets in between them. The two of you seem determined to distract your father and I until we put the kingdom in jeopardy. He hit me first. You don't have to bother with this, mother. I will settle this with him. And then we see a bloodied King Azura walk up. Both of you are about to learn a lesson. Back at the German base camp, we have the Red Skull standing there with Wolfgang von Stracker. And he's there in a tent with his three super-powered allies, right?
By the way, that's Baron to you.
Oh, is it? Oh, sorry. Wolfgang. Master Man, warrior woman, armless tiger man, I want you to meet a local ally that will be fighting alongside you. He has opened up his nation, which borders Wakanda, to us for this mission. We'll be helpful with the local languages, landmarks, and what have you. Let me introduce the white gorilla. And so, coming out from behind the drape is a very, 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 very large black man with white gorilla garb over top of his shoulders and head and around his wrists and legs. And he's very ominous looking. Do you know who the white gorilla is, Bob?
I'm really not that familiar with the white
You know
gorilla.
why? Because this is his introduction.
That'd be
This
why.
is the very first time we see who the white gorilla is. Now, we should kind of get it because the village, they're talking about Jabari village, which is the one that borders Wakanda. And later on, one of his, I don't know if it's an ancestor or whomever, but M'Baku
Okay. Yeah.
is part of the Jabari village.
All right.
And then he ends up becoming, do you know which character he ends up becoming?
I don't recall. I should, because
Man-Ape.
Man-Ape, that's it. Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, here's a little precursor, and he's known as the White Gorilla. Now, Master Man and the others are not having it, right? What? But with all due respect, he's a Schwarzer in a monkey suit. And you are a cannibalistic cripple. This is about power. Yes, our Aryan superiority increases our chance of victory, but like our alliance with Japan, certain concessions must be made for the greater good. In the case of the White Gorilla, he has a deep resentment of Wakanda for not sharing their wealth and resources. I've arranged for a short demonstration of his strength and commitment to the destruction of Wakanda. And then we cut to back at the battle scene where Sergeant Fury and his commandos are out there helping clean up after the battle that was in issue 2. And we zoom in on a Wakanda soldier. Bob, I quite frankly don't understand this. We see the top torso.
Yeah.
I'm led to believe the bottom is maybe underneath in the dirt. I don't know. Or is this just the top torso? I can't tell. But he's attacking, right? He's in an attacking motion. His arms are out. He's got weapons in both hands. He's got an anger face with his mouth open like he's screaming. And it's like he's frozen that way.
Yeah, I think that's his upper torso. I think he's missing, something from his, his lower right torso. It looks like it's torn open, and yet, despite that condition, he died in the attack phase. Right? He is still like mid attack. As bad as he was, he's still like frozen in that position. I think that they're talking about how tough these guys are. They don't quit. They don't surrender, until they're forcibly taken off the board. And this guy looked like he nothing was stopping him until he was forcibly taken off the board.
Yowzers, yeah. And by the way, this is Marvel Knights, so it's going to be. It doesn't have a comics code authority, right? This is going to be. PG-13, would you say?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Definitely a lot of blood in this one.
And then we see Fury and Gabe, who are here talking to each other. Wakanda's are the fiercest fighters I've ever seen. Any chance they'll join the Allies? Fat chance. These guys think they can handle anything that comes their way. But this little skirmish is just the beginning. The Germans are going to pull out their big guns. And I don't know if the guy in the catsuit can handle it. We need the firepower to protect people who don't think they need the help. Because if the Nazis get their hands on what's here, it's over for the whole world. What are you asking me to do? Find the vibranium. That's what the Nazis are here for. We've got to get it first. And I'm the perfect guy to steal some sacred rocks from the natives? The rest of the Howlers are going back in the jungle to find the German base camp. If the Wakandas liked Reb more than you, I'd be giving him the assignment. Saving lives can be very dirty business. I just need to know if I could count on you to follow orders, Private. And he stares at him. You can count on me, sir. And then we cut to the two boys that were bickering. And what are they doing, Bob?
They're digging graves, Rick. That's what they're doing.
Yep. How many more, Father? There are many Wakandan dead. If you two don't get your act together, there will be more. So keep digging. And then the two boys grumble. This is all your fault. It's not my fault. I'm smarter and better trained for the throne than you. Then beat me, Shrimp. Every day and every way. Do you two really think I can't hear you? I am the Black Panther. Sorry, Father. The two of you fight over a kingdom that may not exist if you don't stop distracting me. Right now, neither of you is worthy of the Panther God. So keep digging graves. That might be the job you end up with. Yes, Father. So we cut to the demonstration of the white gorilla's power. And there are a bunch of prisoners that were let loose, Wakanda prisoners. What did they promise you? That you would be king of Africa? And he just basically, with his hand, just crushes the guy's skull. I'm not that naive. And then he makes short work of them. First, I get to kill as many of you as I please. Second, are you listening to me? And he grabs a guy by two arms and lifts him. And then he rips him apart off camera. But Master Man and Warrior Woman are watching. The wishbone, one of my favorites. Ugh, more fluids. I need disinfectant. And then there's a knock at the door, and we see Steve Rogers standing in a really luxurious room. How would you describe the room, Bob?
It is, all that dark, rich wood paneling, a big fireplace. It's got an easy chair, a desk, it's got a zebra skin carpet on the floor, Rick. Lots of windows, and you can see the lush jungle outside the windows. It looks like a really high-end, reading room, that you'd find in a mansion, or maybe, like in one of those old colonial hotels in that, like the Raffles or any of those sorts of things. Beautiful place.
And Steve's just looking out the window. And the Wakanda soldier says, Sergeant Nick Fury for you. Let him in. Nice digs. Wonder what the poor people are doing. What do you need, Nick? I got a special mission. Something only you can pull off. And then the next panel, you see the two of them talking, but you can't make out what they're saying. Next following panel, I can't do that. It's not what you usually do. I get that. But it's not enough to stop the Nazis. We need the competitive edge. That's what you are, right? And he walks off. Then we cut to Gabe, who is walking through downtown Wakanda in the market. Heaven. I've never seen anything like this. Stores full of food. Happy kids. Folks operating machines I've never seen before. No wonder they have to keep it a secret. The world isn't ready for this. That's why these Nazis need to get their hats knocked off. Not only to stop their racist movement, but to send a message to everybody else. Excuse me, friend. Are you going to the Vibranium mine? Yes, my shift starts soon. Do you need a lift? The transport stops here. So far, so good. And he gets on the bus and he makes it to the mine. And then there's guards there. Why are you here? My superior officer deployed me here. I'm here to help protect the vibranium in case of another Nazi attack. We have not been notified of this from our superior officers, and the Great Mound is not open to unauthorized personnel, especially foreigners. Hey, that's no way to speak to a brother. Just because 100 years ago my family got caught by slavers and yours ran faster doesn't mean, what is that? And it's Master Man flying through the air. Damn it, that must be them. Them who? Are they with you? Hell no. Get your big guns out. And then Master Man lands somewhere with a large explosion that makes a big noise, Bob.
Boom!
And the Queen, what's going on? And then we cut to up in the sky. Bob, do you want to describe this one?
Rick, it would. I don't have a lot of original art, but I got to tell you, if I could get my hands on this page, I would be all over it. So, as I described a warrior woman earlier, although this outfit is a little bit different, right? Because on the cover, we saw her fully covered torso, but now she has a bodice that is a little bit more revealing. Let's just say a lot more revealing, right? Showing a lot of cleavage. She's got her big leather boots on. She's got a black leather trench coat. She still has her SS garrison hat on, and she is straddled riding a Nazi bomb that is careening toward the ground, and she's got her whip wrapped around it like a lasso, holding onto it like she'd be holding on to a horse or a bull or something.
Got a little, was it Dr. Zhivago?
No, Dr. Strangelove?
Dr. Strangelove. Sorry.
Sorry, Omar Sharif.
Yes. I got that wrong.
More like a Slim Pickens. Yeah.
Yeah. Dr. Strangelove, when he's on top of the bomb and he's riding it, like a horse.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That was little Stanley Kubrick, right? And so she says, what is it the Americans say? Yippee-ki-yay. And then the Wakandans do have their big guns out and they're firing at it. And then there's a big explosion.
Boom.
And then the next panel is she's just falling to the earth because her ride has now been blown up midair. But she somehow managed to keep all her clothes and her hat on.
Yeah, she lost her jacket though. Her leather trench coat.
Maybe she's like Superman, right? Because Superman's uniform, apparently the one that's touching his skin is also impenetrable, right? But his cape is not, because it's not touching, right? Somehow that was a comic thing. It was explained years ago.
Huh. Yeah. This is an interesting panel.
Yes. So she's falling and she's falling backwards. She's got her hands and legs and arms kind of outstretched.
Yeah.
And she's holding on to her hat because of the wind. And she has a disappointed look on her face. And she says, the big ones never last as long as they should.
True words.
And so she falls she crashes into a house, and it happens to be that's not the Queen, is it? No.
No, I don't believe that's the Queen.
That's not the Queen, no.
Yeah.
So she goes over to grab this old woman and lifts her up by the throat, and the woman says, "Please, I'm an old woman." Exactly. Your time was up anyway. And she goes to punch, but it makes a loud noise because what's a hit, Bob? It hits the shield.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. A couple of issues ago, that noise would have been wank.
Right. Yes, that's right.
And it's Cap with his heater shield. And he says, I hate hitting a woman, but and then he just nails her with the shield and gives her an upper jaw. And then he hits her again. And then the old lady says, use the skillet, because she lands over like in a outdoor oven, and it's, fires all around her. And he just gets the cast iron. Hell, maybe it's vibranium. We don't know.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and he's just like bam, bam, bam over the
Yeah.
face
It's
with her.
multiple hits with it. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. She's had enough. So she hits Steve, and he falls. He gets nailed right out of the roof hole that she made, and he's like going skyrocketing. And she says, with fire still on her face, ready to die, you old witch? Yeah, you better run. And Steve's up in the air as a projectile. He's high up there.
This is a bit much, right? Yeah.
And he's like, this is not good. But who comes out of nowhere in a fighter jet with the capsule open so that Steve can just land in the cockpit behind King Azura, Black Panther. Well, that's fortuitous.
Yeah. These two pages for a little bit, they do stretch a little bit.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, it
realism
does.
of Marvel Knights.
Yeah. Yeah, because everything else has been really real up to this point, right? Sit rep. They learned a lot from their previous attack. Masterman ripped the protection totem out of the ground. Now we are vulnerable to machine gun fire and other mechanical attacks. Fortunately, our response is not limited to spears. But there's at least 2 super-powered players on the field, maybe more. Azuri, there is an attack at the Great Mound. On my way now. If you can handle that situation, I'm going to jump out now. Warrior Woman is still out there. I'll drop low and slow down near the palace. And the queen comes out. Where are my boys? We have them. We need to get them to the safe room now. There is no safe place. And who is it?
The white gorilla. Is that what he is? Yeah.
Yeah, the white gorilla. Yeah. Grape Ape. You remember Grape Ape?
Grape Ape, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen that in probably like 45 years, but
right. Yeah.
it was
This is due for a reboot.
Grape Ape. Yeah, I mean, listen, they're making reboots of everything nowadays, right? There's not an original idea left. So So there he is standing over the queen, and she says, "You fool, it's bad enough to suck the blood out of your own people. Now you sell yourself out to Nazis? The Nazis think they're using me, but I am using them to conquer my greatest enemies, you. Well, that is a plan worthy of a black man dressed in a white gorilla suit." And then just then, Cap lands on the white gorilla and hits him. Oh, what's that sound effect, Bob?
Shrek. I don't know what that is. Shrek.
Yeah. Run. Get out of here. I'll handle him. And then we cut to the mine where Mastermind blew into the side of the mountain. And there's Gabe and all of the Wakandas, coming at him and firing at him. And then Masterman comes up to Gabe and knocks the gun out of his hand. You, tell me which of these stupid rocks is vibranium. Wait, you're American. You came all the way to die in your homeland? No, I came all the way to watch you die. And how is that going to happen? And then in the background, we see Black Panther in his fighter jet flying towards Masterman. And then we cut to back at the palace, and there's Armless Tiger Man, and he's got blood dripping down his face and all down his front of his shirt. And you know what he can't do, Bob? He can't wipe it off.
True enough. No wonder he's so angry.
He's armless. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just my way of saying hello. Now, who will be the next to bleed out? I know what you're thinking. How fast could he be? He couldn't get us all. But then you look at the bodies on the floor and reconsider. As well you should. I'm developing a taste for dark meat. And there's like a zoom in on his face, his bloodied face, and his bloody, jagged teeth. We cut back to Masterman. What's some tofu? I'm not even gonna. What I can't speak German.
It's what the hell?
Oh, okay. And Gabe runs away. A little warning next time. And then Black Panther flies his jet into Masterman. And there's a big explosion. And then we cut back to I almost said Wonder Woman. Warrior Woman. I don't know if that's a good or bad. And then as she's talking, there's an electric whip that goes around her neck, wraps several times. And there's two of the, what are they called? Maserati? Menagerie? Maserati? What are they called again?
The Dorja Mirage or something, right?
Yeah.
Dora Mirage or
yeah, sorry. And they're there and they have their weapons, you know, they have machine guns and they got an electric whip around the neck. And she's like, I think you need to up the voltage. She's not convulsing yet. Stupid monkeys. I've been fried, electrified, and shot by you people. Don't you get it? All you do is ruin my hairdo. And then I think she kills one.
She looks like she does break her neck. Yes.
So then we cut to the commandos who are in the jungle and they're walking towards the German base. Where's Gabe, Nick? Special mission, just like we're on. I ain't gonna lie, Sarge. I feel funny. I ain't gonna lie, Sarge. I feel funny hightailing it out there when the going got tough. Panther himself wanted us to do this. We can't keep reacting to the Nazis. We got to take it to them and surprise them for a change. Considering the Wakandas took us out a tank platoon by themselves last time, I think they'll weather the storm without us. I just hope that intel from Crowd is good. Looking mighty fine about now, dum-dum. Take a peek. Holy moly, that Razzi told the truth. And they see the big camp there. Okay, smarten up. Last time we did this, we all ended up captured. I don't think they'll treat us to dinner and a show like in Wakanda. Uh-oh. And then coming up from behind them is the Red Skull in a giant mechanical robot cyborg uniform thing. It's huge.
It's the Red Skull Hulkbuster.
Apparently.
Yeah.
No, it won't be like that at all. And then there's the white gorilla hammering on Cap's shield as he's defending himself. A woman broke you. And now an African will kill you. And he keeps hitting and pounding and pounding. I'll clean the blood off my fist with the flag on your back. Fight back. Damn you. And he keeps hitting and hitting. Why won't you fight? And then all of a sudden, Cap just says, you asked for it. And he gives him a big left cross. He's pulling a Rocky. He's pulling a Rocky Balboa.
He wore him down, man.
And then he hits him hard with the shield. So we cut back to the palace, and there is the queen shielding her two sons from the armless Tiger Man. We've got to do something. What? He's a monster. So we hide behind our mother until he picks us off one by one? Are we men or not? Do you have a plan? Yes. Survive. And then he starts running after to get Black Panther. T'Chaka! I'm getting Daddy. But Armless Tiger Man's pretty darn fast. So he comes up and he kicks him in the face. Yes, when we're ready for him. Now do as I say, or the little prince dies. To be concluded.
That Armless Tiger Man is he's a freaky character.
He is. Now, you remember my prediction, right?
Oh, I certainly do.
Right? We're like, why are we bringing back this very, very obscure character from World War II? I think he's going to get it. I think he's going to bite it.
Okay. All right.
All right. So we're going to get to the finale here, Bob. This is issue 4. And you want to hear the solicitation?
Yeah.
All right. Outmanned and outgunned, Captain America and the Black Panther battle Masterman, Warrior Woman, White Gorilla, and the Red Skull. Meanwhile, Gabe Jones has to make a fateful choice: betray the U.S. government or the people of Wakanda. Who will he choose? So on the cover here, Dennis Cohen again and Sandu Florea again, but also now joined by Pete Pantazis, who is the colorist. Probably is the colorist on all of them. Then we have, same writer and artist, Hudlin and Cohen. Inker again, Tom Palmer, and then Sandu Florea is joining on the inking. So probably it was behind schedule. Some pages got inked by one, got inked by other. And then we have the same colorist, letterer, and editor, Pantazinas, Sabino, Gerner, and Alonso. On the cover here, Bob, it is King Azura, Black Panther. Actually, I keep saying Azura. It's Azuri. So I apologize if I say Azura throughout the show. It's Azuri. So King Azuri and Captain America are going up against the Red Skull in that big, gigantic exoskeleton. And then we cut back to the story. And you know what? In the last episode, we kind of mentioned this a little bit more than we have here. But, Gabe Jones is still kind of like the central character in this story. It's Reginald Hudlin, when he decided to write this story, he chose Gabe as kind of like being told from his perspective. Normally it's from Steve Rogers' perspective. But this time he chose Gabe Jones because I think it was important to him that Gabe, as the only Black man in Sergeant Fury's Howling Commandos, being in the African kingdom of Wakanda, what this meant to a character like Gabe, right? And I think it's been very interesting, and we'll continue to see how that plays out in this story. So he's in the mines, all right, of the vibranium mines, and Master Man had caused a lot of destruction. There's an explosion going on, and we see Gabe running down the tracks trying to outrun this big fireball that's coming from behind him. And he's got his rifle in his one hand. He's just running as fast as he can. This is weird. I feel the heat on my back, but I can't hear a damn thing. I think I figured out how this vibranium thing works. I want to look back to see how close it is, but that might slow me down enough for the heat to roast my eyeballs. And he ducks in the nick of time. Okay, I made it. I hope that Nazi bastard Masterman didn't. But how could the Black Panther survive that? Because if you remember, It was the Black Panther's fighter jet that came in and nailed Masterman. I guess that's the stuff. Vibranium. And he sees on the ground and he picks it up. Better to have it. I'll figure out the right blade later. And he puts it in his pocket on his chest. Cut back to the Red Skull, who surprised Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos in that big exoskeleton. And he is just, attacking them. And they're firing at him. But the ricochets are coming back towards their own members. So they're like, cease fire. That's right. Your bullets are useless against me. But mine. And then this big Gatling cannon just, points it at them as he's looking down on them. Cut back to Gabe. Since I can't leave the way I entered, I have to find my own way out. And he's climbing up a ladder to get to a grate above him. Okay, am I going from the frying pan to the fire here? And he's basically in the situation where we left off the last issue. And that is the armless Tiger Man, who has one of, I think he has T'Chaka by the throat. And you're wondering, how could he possibly have T'Chaka by the throat? He has no arms. Well, he's got his leg wrapped around his neck. Then there's claws on his feet. There are plenty of nails out here that need a hammer. Now, Bob, that's a quote I've heard you say once or twice on this show.
Well, in a manner of speaking, yeah. I think in the past I said there's an Asian proverb, right? It's common in Chinese and Japanese that the nail that sticks up.
We need more Calgon?
Yeah. The nail that sticks up gets hammered down. It's their version of the squeaky wheel gets the grease, but it has a negative connotation that just shut up.
Well, I think it's the first time I heard you explain it that way, but other times I've heard you say that in war,
oh, right,
everything's a hammer.
Right. Yeah. When all you have is a hammer,
everything's a nail.
Everything's a nail. Right.
Right. And that's basically what he's saying here, right?
Right.
He says there's plenty of nails out here that need a hammer.
Yeah. Good catch. Good point. Yeah.
I listen to you, Bob.
I appreciate that too.
Yes. I know it doesn't always, reciprocate, but I pay attention.
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
Exactly. Release my son and you will die quickly. Gabe pulls out a little mirror to kind of see around the corner, and he sees Armless Tiger Man holding T'Chaka by the throat. You arrogant savages don't know when you are beaten. It's all about the right tool for the job. And he pulls his 45 out of his holster. I just want to say, I kind of feel like I got validated. Like, I say 45 out of his holster. I say Gatling cannon. And I get a little nod and a smile from Bob. He's like, Rick knows his weapons. All right.
Whoa, all right.
I feel validated.
Yeah, good. Good for you, man.
Remember, I can cut its throat and still have another child hostage. And then, those were the last words he ever spoke. Because Gabe shoots him in the forehead. And there's a look of surprise on Armless Tiger Man's face.
Yeah.
And then he falls down with his brains everywhere. T'Chaka, mother. And then she goes up to Gabe. Such talent is appreciated in Wakanda. Just doing my job, Your Highness. Gabe, you okay? Captain, it appears you have vanquished your foe as well. You and this young warrior should work together more often. Perhaps get him a colorful outfit like yourself. Such a statement would help clarify matters back in your home country. Man, those kind of decisions are above my pay grade.
That's an interesting callback right there, Rick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. To Isaiah.
Mm-hmm.
which didn't quite go down the way that the Queen would
Yeah,
have
didn't
hoped.
happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And for our listeners who don't know what you're referring, maybe you can just give a little more context.
Sure. Right. Isaiah Bradley, right, who was given the super soldier form or a version of it after Dr. Erskine was assassinated in an attempt to try to replicate. It was used experimentally on a number of Black soldiers, many of whom died horrible deaths. This was all, of course, spelled out in Truth, Red, White, and Black miniseries. And of course, Isaiah showed up in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier in the Disney Plus series. So
yeah, absolutely, Bob. I mean, The Truth was a great miniseries. It came out in 2003, so about 7 years before this story came out. But if our listeners have not had a chance to read that, or it's been a while, check out episodes 33 and 34. We actually covered that story, the Truth, Red, White, and Black, in the podcast way back at episodes 33 and 34. So you may want to follow up and check that out. Gabe, the Howlers ran into a nasty trap at the Nazi base camp. The Red Skull was waiting for them. Red Skull? I keep hearing about this creep. His presence lets us know how seriously the Germans take this mission. Let's put this skull in the dirt where he belongs. And then Masterman comes out from under the wreckage of the plane. Panther! I don't know if you're still alive in there, but you won't be for long. But the Black Panther comes up behind Masterman, and with his gauntlet, this does something to his face. It's like an acid that just starts to burn his face. Yeah, I know. I've never seen Black Panther do this, but now, granted, I don't read a lot of Black Panther. Maybe this is a common thing in his arsenal, but he's got him in a half Nelson, and then he's got his hand over top of his head and his face, and he's like dissolving it with some sort of acid coming out of his gloves.
Now, I got to be honest with you here, Rick. It seems a little bit. I don't know, like they're just trying to wrap up Masterman, right? I mean, the guy just flew into a mountain.
Yeah.
And then he punched King Azuri's plane as the plane was crashing into him. And he survived those two things. But in a matter of 5 panels here, the Black Panther dissolves his head and he's done. So a little disappointing here what they did with Masterman. But I guess they gotta move it along, right?
Yeah, right.
So
yeah, his face is all dissolved and it's just skull-like.
Moreover, I mean, this is not the first continuity issue, but I mean, we know that.
We're going to get into continuity issues in a second.
All right.
Yeah, and then okay. So Black Panther then goes into his intercom, which I guess is in his other glove, because I don't see him holding anything. Command, this is Azuri. He's down. Bring an extra large body bag. But just then, he dodges a punch from Warrior Woman. You're a quick bastard. And then he just jumps on her face with the acid glove and dissolves her face, and then she's done in just a few panels. And he says, Command, make that 2. Well, we just wrapped up 2 badass villains.
Right.
We're talking, huge strength, villains in just a little bit, because he's got some sort of acid glove that neither of us have ever seen before.
I want one. Yeah.
Do you?
I don't know what I'd do with it.
Yeah, I don't want one.
It'd be good for taking care of landscape waste.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I couldn't imagine using it on a living thing. That would.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna tell you right now, Bob. I am totally gonna die in an apocalypse. My skill set is not does not translate very well
Right,
into any kind of zombie apocalypse
right.
or anything like that.
You're like, you'd be running away from the zombies. You'd be like, oh, my hips hurt, my hammies.
Okay, that was a conversation we did not have on air.
Oh.
What he's referring to is at my age, about 10 months ago, I decided to take up running like an idiot. And I, at the gym, because I go to this gym with my wife, I'm not going to promote the gym because they don't pay us, but it rhymes with Frorange Frary. And so I run on the treadmill a lot, and from the waist down, I'm constantly in pain with my hammies, my glutes, my joints. I walk around like I just got kicked in the ass. I ran last night. I ran last night a couple of miles on the treadmill, right? And then this morning before work at the gym at work, I ran for like 20 some minutes, and I didn't do a good job stretching before or after. And I walk around and I almost look hysterical the way I walk. But anyway, no, Bob, I wasn't talking about that in the
okay.
zombie apocalypse.
All right.
I'm talking about the fact that I don't have a mean bone in my body.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure if attacked, I would defend my family, and like Papa Bear would come out, right?
Right. Yeah.
You should see me going up against a seagull that took a
Oh my
sandwich out of
gosh.
my daughter's fingers.
Yeah.
I was totally.
I don't even want to imagine it. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, that seagull was scared like you wouldn't believe.
Think
No,
twice.
but I don't have a mean bone in my body. So I couldn't take an acid glove and use that on somebody, a living thing.
That is, I would love to see that. I want to see that as like one of those Netflix movies, right? I mean, we see like The Walking Dead, everybody's got like the baseball bat wrapped with barbed wire or whatever, all those games, kill as many zombies. I want to see one about like a kinder, gentler zombie apocalypse, where like the main characters,
the guy that dies very quickly.
they do everything they can to avoid killing the zombies, right?
Yeah,
that would be funny. That would be
well. No, show. I'm not worried about zombies.
No,
are you kidding me? No, I could kill a zombie. Sure, zombies are dead. No big deal. I don't feel bad or guilty about killing a zombie. No. I'm talking about the fact that I'm more afraid of the people. So right now, we have laws, we have rules, we have things in place where people restrain themselves from killing me.
Right. Yeah.
If we get into an apocalypse,
right,
my smart ass mouth, I'm a dead man.
Yeah, you're not a Purge fan. I'm taking it.
No. No. So I am totally going to be like, I don't have any like I'm a marketing guy. I suppose I could do some some strategy to help out things like that, but I'm 5'6", $150. I'm not exactly going to be like right. on the front line defending the colony. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I love it. That's good. It's something I'll be that's something if I take up running again, I'm going to spend my 40 minutes thinking about that. See if I can provide any tips for you.
All right. I want our listeners to respond to this episode in Facebook by saying whether or not they feel they would do well in a zombie apocalypse. Realistically, let's
complete candid, right?
Yeah. Let's not do any false bravado here, okay?
Right.
Like tomorrow, no rules,
No rules.
No rules, no
Yeah.
government, no laws, nothing stopping humans from doing whatever they want.
Yeah.
Might makes right.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not a big reader, right, Rick? You don't like to read.
I read comics.
Well, I mean, like I read a lot of science fiction books, and I remember there was a really great. I think it's a Larry Niven book called The Hammer of God, and it's about.
Did they make that into a comic? I think they did.
Did they? I don't
independent,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, they should, because it's a great book. It's about, when I think it's a meteor hits the earth, right? Causes global apocalypse. Society breaks down, and it's how people try to survive after, right? And how like wild it becomes, how dog eat dog it becomes, and just people stealing each other's shit,
yeah,
their liquor, their bullets. I mean, it's a great book, but it really is thought provoking.
Yeah.
So.
No, totally. I mean, like,
there was one guy, a scientist, and unfortunately he didn't last very long because he needed insulin, and he tried to produce his own. But he created this. There was, of course, a tsunami, right? So everything got inundated. But one of the things he did in preparation for it was he bought, those books, How Things Work. You ever see those?
Like Something for Dummies?
You can get them on Amazon, well, something like that. But they're like they do like 3D like cutaways of machines, and they explain how machines work, like a toaster or a coffee maker or a car engine or any of these. And he bought.
I have no idea how anything works.
Yeah, I don't either, right? I mean, right? I have what like my wife says is like a neck job. My job involves the neck up. But so all these books are like how things. So he like sealed these all up in one of those cisterns and sealed it up so it would be waterproof. And then when the waters receded, they were able to pull these books out, because all the knowledge of how things worked were lost. And so like for a while I started buying these damn books, because I was like, I got to start learning how things work and how things are made. Because when you start thinking about like how little we know, like if you had to make penicillin, like
I couldn't make anything, Bob.
Right? Like that's kind of an important thing. Penicillin, right?
Yeah.
Somebody should probably remember how to make that, like have it written down.
Right. No, I know nothing. I know how to make food. As far as but like they give me ingredients. Like I don't know how to, do farming or anything like that. But I mean, like no, that's just it. I don't know what skills I bring to it.
I went to a party this weekend, Rick, where they made pasta. It took like an hour and a half to make a plate of fettuccine
that you would buy for like $1.
Yeah, like my wife and I like, did you like the fettuccine? And I'm like, yeah, it was okay. She's like, really? And I'm like, well, honestly, I kind of like the stuff out of the box that we had as like a prelim.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I mean, but like
that's what you're used to. Yeah.
Right. No more box stuff. Right. If you don't know how to make fettuccine, you're not having pasta.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you what
sad world.
I couldn't tell you what skills I would bring to a zombie apocalypse. Yeah. I really couldn't. I think I could be a good leader and strategy and things like that. But
you could be a bard.
Yes, I would.
Rick the Bard.
I would be a jester. I'd be a court jester.
You go from community to community and tell stories around the fire for the youngins. Yeah,
that's it.
There once was a man named Steve Rogers.
Quite frankly, I'm getting at the age now, though, that I'm going to be like the guy that stays back with the women and children. It's like, oh, well, you stay here, quote unquote, protect the women and children, and I'll be like, okay, whippersnapper, you just go off there. I'll stay there. Okay. We got a little bit. We're a little tangent.
Where are we?
Yeah. We're back in the jungle of Wakanda, and the Red Skull is in his big, gigantic robot exoskeleton, and he's trying to find the commandos, but they're hiding in the jungle behind trees because they can't fight it, so they're running away and a tactical retreat, if you will. I will find you, cowards. And then he smashes a tree, which loosens a Sergeant Fury who falls to the ground. And with his big armored hand comes at him. Here's one, and he's an officer. Back off, deadhead. And some guy starts shooting from behind. You miss, Skullface. Well, that's not the actual words, but I like it better.
Yeah, I do like that one too. Yeah.
You miss, Skull. Practice one of those Coney Island cranes first. Run, vermin. You will still be exterminated. And then Wolfgang von Strucker, Baron. Is he a Baron here?
I don't know if he's a Baron yet, honestly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know when he became a Baron.
Well, you corrected me before.
I know, but he's generally known as Baron von Strucker, right?
Well, you know,
Bob,
listen, if you don't know, maybe you shouldn't be going around correcting people. I'm just saying.
Point taken, Rick.
See, I would get really far in the apocalypse. Oh, smartass is getting killed first.
Send him out for the potatoes.
And so Strucker hears the firing and he's like, what is that? And it's the Commandos, and they come in and they're crashing the party. And here's Sergeant Fury with his Tommy gun. Did I get that one right, Bob?
Yeah, again, spot on again.
Yeah. There you go. I'll be the guy in the apocalypse going, oh, he's got the revolver.
Yeah. Hey, what's the name of this? Ask Rick.
And so he's pointing his gun and Strucker's pointing his gun at Fury, and they recognize each other. And at the same time, they say,
My lucky day.
Yes. Wow, you are bad at this.
I know. Well, yeah.
You want to try again?
Well, I was doing it in German, but then I realized it's probably not.
Oh, okay, maybe I should do it in Nick Fury's voice.
Oh, there you go.
You do it in Strucker's voice. Ready?
Yes.
All right. My lucky day. Oh, that's hard. Right. So the Red Skull comes in and he rips open the tent, and he's just got his Gatling gun and he's just firing away. And somehow he's not hitting a thing. I think he's got the Imperial Stormtrooper school of firing. You kill that one, Strucker. I'll kill the rest. So then we cut back to a larger plane, not a fighter jet. This is a carrier, and the Black Panther is flying it. And in the cargo area, we have Captain America and Gabe Jones. They are talking, but Black Panther summons. Gabe, come up here for a second. So Gabe sits down next to the pilot, Black Panther. Think we should have brought more men? We're still rounding up invaders in Wakanda. We couldn't spare any. Besides, the three of us can get the job done. But the report says the Red Skull has some sort of weapon. And so do I. I called you up here to personally thank you for protecting my family. I'd like to offer you a reward for your efforts. That's not necessary, Your Highness. We've been observing you very carefully since your arrival in Wakanda. You've conducted yourself with class and honor, which is why I'm offering you Wakandan citizenship. I'm stunned and honored, sir. Can I take a moment to think about this? And he pats his chest pocket, which is hiding the vibranium he picked up. Of course, but decide quickly. We might all die soon. So then we get to Fury and Strucker, and they're in a fight. They've got knives, they got pistols, they're up close in each other's face. You are an unusual opponent, American. Yeah, how's that? You're actually formidable. Of course, I will still drive this German steel into your eye. Is this how Nick Fury lost his eye? No, because then Nick Fury puts a dagger into Strucker's shoulder. Here's a little something for you. Ah, and he fires at him. And he pulls the knife out of his shoulder. You lost something. And he slices at Fury's chest, catching some flesh. Here. So then we got cut back to the Commandos. Dum-Dum, how are we going to get away from that red-headed robot? We need a miracle, Jesus. And just on time, coming up from above, what do we see, Bob?
That is that's an unusually cool full page splash, right? With both Cap and Black Panther jumping out of the aircraft, each armed with their respective shield, and of course Black Panther with his sickle weapon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he does have a shield. We haven't seen that before, and it's a really cool shield. It's a round shield that has a Black Panther emblem in the middle, and then it looks like from that emblem there are multiple spears that are coming out, because on the around the circle of the shield there are some juttisons of the points outside of the outer rim, so that creates even.
Is that a word?
Jettison?
Jettison?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. If it is, I've learned a new word tonight.
Hey, weren't you the one who told me before that you made up a word and then we got corrected in the Facebook group?
Oh, I got corrected. You didn't get corrected.
What word did you make up again?
Psychopathy. Right?
But psychopathy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is a word.
It is a word. Yeah.
But you told me it was made up.
Who knows? I wasn't. I guess I was one of the. I must have been reading a magazine or something.
Yeah. So Red Skull points his Gatling cannon up at the sky at the Cap and Black Panther firing, but they both have their shields up, so they're fine. And then they land on the Red Skull and they're fighting at him and kicking at him, but he's knocking them off. But Cap with his kick did break the glass that was over top of the Red Skull's face. So apparently Cap's kick is stronger than any bullets the Commandos were firing.
Right. Or they just failed to shoot at the glass.
No, they did. There was like some ricochets earlier, I'm pretty sure. Or are you going to be like my wife when she tells me that I loosened the jar for her? did the Commandos with all their bullets loosen? You know,
they tenderized it.
They tenderized it, and then Cap kicked the shield.
Yep.
Okay. So the Black Panther gets behind the Red Skull and knocks over. What is that, Bob? Some sort of canister of some sort?
Is it a barrel of fuel? I don't know.
Could be. It's awfully large to be.
It is. Yeah,
it's huge. It's really large, and it makes a loud noise when it hits the Red Skull.
It does. It almost makes a.
It does. And then the Red Skull just says, "Pathetic." And he takes Captain America's heater shield and he destroys it, Bob.
Which is incredible, because that thing is held up to a lot during this. It really has.
I mean, it had the white gorilla pounding it.
Uh-huh. I think it had a warrior woman punching it.
Yeah. Enough with your stupid toy. Unfortunate. It's government issue. They'll give me another. Use this one in the meantime. What about you? I'm not short on weapons. Right. So Cap takes the shield that Black Panther handed him, and he tosses it. and it goes right into the chest plate and destroys the exoskeleton, sending Red Skull back.
Yeah. Now it's worth pointing out, Rick, that the shield itself,
Uh-huh.
Black Panther shield, looks like it's made out of wood.
It does.
But we saw earlier that the Red Skull was shooting at it, and it was not doing any harm. So clearly, it really isn't wood, even though it looks like wood.
Uh-huh. But also, this seemed to be a very quick ending to the exoskeleton that
It
before,
does.
yeah. They're wrapping some things up here.
Yeah.
And then Steve looks at Black Panther and he smiles. I'm trying out for the Yankees when I get home. What do you say, Howlers?
Wahoo!
And the Red Skull is just lying there gasping. But Baron von Strucker will have none of this. He has his German Luger, Bob.
Nicely done.
Yeah, look at me. He says, stop or I will kill him. And he's pointing it at Nick Fury, who has his gun pointing at Strucker. Don't worry, fellas. I'll kill him first. Don't bluff. You Americans are too soft to risk the life of a superior officer. Speaking of which, look at your master. The electrical current from the broken suit is shocking him. If you want him to live, you don't have time for games. Nope, Hitler would not be happy at all if the skull dies on your watch. So Strucker throws his gun down, and he goes over to save the Red Skull. Skull, speak to me. And then Dum Dum says, if he gives him mouth to jawbone, I'm throwing up. But it's not him who throws up. Who is it?
I can't believe they have the Red Skull throwing up.
I mean, there you go, Bob. That's got to be T-shirt worthy right there. Right? That's
right.
the Red Skull throwing up.
That's a party shirt.
Totally. Strucker, you're the last Nazi left standing. Your super soldiers are all dead. Your troops are dead, captured or AWOL. Your attempted invasion of Wakanda was a failure. Return to Germany and tell your Führer what happened. And if I ever see a Nazi jackboot anywhere near my country again, I will rescind our non-interventionist policy, invade Germany myself, and kill you all. Am I clear? He's letting him go? And Cap says, his country, his rules. You and I will meet again. Sure will. And I'll be the one kicking your ass down other than London. And the Black Panther gives a nice little bro shake to Cap, right? Does a little cross the hand, pulling up close, face to face. You are a great warrior, Captain America. You are always welcome in Wakanda. You're a great leader, Black Panther. It's been an honor. By the way, that shield is yours if you want it. No thanks, but you did give me some ideas for my next one. So he's talking about how he's now got an idea for a circular shield.
A saucer. Interesting.
So we cut back to the Commandos are on. I don't know, Bob. Was that is that an aircraft carrier?
Well, no, I just think it's a runway. I think it's probably the airport at Wakanda.
No, okay, but it is military issued vehicles and plane there. But the Commandos are getting on the plane to leave Wakanda. Easy, you should see if Cap will sign your cast. Reb, come on, man. The guy's good in a scrap, but 30 years from now, having that guy's autograph is going to be embarrassing. And we see Gabe walking with King Azuri, because he's got his Black Panther mask off. It's not that I don't appreciate the offer of citizenship, but even if I lived here, I still want to fight this fight. And when I get home, I got to fight that fight too. I can't leave everyone else behind. Fair enough. Remember, if you need me, I will be there. Thanks. And there may be times when I call on you as well. I figured that. I'm cool with that too. If we don't watch each other's backs, who will? And Gabe turns to walk into the plane with everyone else, but Black Panther says, Gabe. And we get back to the inner monologue of Gabe. Now, does he know about the vibranium in my pocket? You sure about this decision? Yeah, I'm sure. I'm doing the right thing. And Black Panther turns and walks off. He's got to know. He knows everything. Is he psyching me out, or am I psyching myself out? So then we cut to the plane in the sky above the clouds and the moon's in the background. What's on your mind, Gabe? If you're asking me if I got it, I didn't. They had eyes on me the whole time. I don't believe you. You're too good. You were too in. Sorry, Nick, but those are the facts. Maybe you're not clear where your loyalties are. You want to stay in paradise? I do, but I'm here anyway. If that's not good enough for you, let me know now. And Nick looks at Gabe, and then he walks away. Fair enough. So then we cut back to America, Army base. So how effective was Captain America in the field? And we see Fury being interrogated by officers. A superb fighting man. Brave, inventive, inspiring. I hear a butt in that, Sergeant. And then we cut back to, remember that conversation, Bob, in the room where Nick asked Steve to do something?
Yeah.
And we didn't hear what it was?
Right.
Well, here's Steve's reply. I like you, Nick. But if we're going to work together, you need to never ask me to do something like that again. It's war, Cap. I do what they tell me. I'm not betraying allies. And that's that. So we cut back to the interrogation, and Sergeant Fury has a recommendation. I think he might be better served with a partner, one that will conduct black ops without hesitation. That way his image can remain unsullied while the necessary things get done. We'll take that under consideration, Sergeant. Needless to say, this conversation is top secret. And then he salutes and says, You'll learn I'm good at those, sir. Bob, I'm looking at that salute.
Don't get me going, Rick.
And
I don't know what this is.
I got a feeling. I know how you.
Is that over there? Is that the sun in my eyes? Oh my gosh, that is perhaps the worst salute I have ever seen rendered on paper. So,
yeah.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
Yeah. I figured if anybody would have a comment on that, that would be you.
I can't get it all right.
So the last page is a big splash page that's split in half. And on one side, we have King Azuri cradling his wife, the Queen, in Wakanda. On the other half, we have Captain America with appears to be Bucky Barnes. And the Queen says, "What are you thinking about, beloved?" "Our new American friends. We worked very well together. Perhaps I should reconsider their offer to join a super team to defeat the Axis." "American friends. I never thought I'd hear you say that." And then here we are, Cap with, it appears to be Bucky Barnes, uh, in front of the Capitol. And Bucky says to Cap, who's holding what? What is he holding?
He's holding the saucer shield.
Yeah, the shield that we all know and love. And Bucky says, "Like the new look, Cap. That new shield looks great." "Nice, isn't it? Got the idea from a friend of mine in Africa." "Africa? You got friends everywhere." "And that's where we need them."
I like that.
The end. All right, Bob. What'd you think? What'd you think of the story?
I love this story. Like I said, I read this several years ago for the first time, and for some reason it didn't click with me at the time. I don't know why, but when I read it through this time, and in preparation, as I always do for our shows,
Yeah.
I really got into it, and the art clicked with me, and the writing I thought was really interesting. There were a lot of callbacks, and I don't know. I really like this series. I'm so happy we did it, and I really encourage anybody who hasn't read it to pick it up and read it, because it's definitely worth reading.
I enjoyed it too. I thought it was my first time reading it, and I did enjoy it. I thought it was really good, as far as like seeing a younger Steve Rogers who's still early and not very battle tested. He is a little green, maybe perhaps a little naive, and you know what? The Cap that we know, he had to go through things to get that life's experience, right? And this is one of the things he went through. And so I love seeing that journey of Cap. But listen, at the end of the day, the character of Steve Rogers still was always there, right? Whether he's battle tested or not. And so, I think that was an important part of this story where he said, "No, I'm not going to betray the an ally," right? And that's an important part of who Steve Rogers is.
Right. Yeah.
And getting back to the quote earlier today when I said my hello to you from Toy Story 3, right?
Right.
I mean, there's the quote,
It's like it all comes together.
Kind of does.
It's amazing.
And you said callbacks, right? So what were some of the callbacks that you liked in this 4-part story, right? Is it, seeing the Red Skull and his leading of getting together with Master Man and Warrior Woman, because I don't know how often that happened in the past in other comic stories, right?
Right. Yeah. No, there hasn't been that many stories where he calls in Master Man and Warrior Woman. Yeah, absolutely. Love that. Loved resurrecting Armless Tiger Man from the Golden Age, albeit in a very short way. I thought that was just a stroke of genius.
I was right. You
were right.
They brought him back just to kill him.
Yeah, kill him off. I'd love seeing Fury and Strucker. Because it appears this was their first meeting as well. And of course, they are the adversaries throughout the Sergeant Fury series and subsequently. I love that. Love the call back, obscure as it was, to Isaiah Bradley as a Black Captain America, and what the Queen said, what she thought might happen actually was not the case. So lots of great things, and of course the wrap up with the inquiry, the panel of inquiry with Nick, suggesting that perhaps
Cap needs somebody to do the dirty work for him. And of course, this was something that was later. But where was it for? I mean, I know Epting, and Brubaker discussed
Yeah, I was thinking
this.
2005 or six.
Yeah. So
A few years before this story came out.
yeah. So a lot of touch points with other books and other ideas throughout different series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting to see where all this fits into what we know as the continuity, right? So, with the whole circular shield, we know in Captain America Comics #1, Bucky was in that, and he had the heater shield. So we need to assume that he got issued another one, as he said, like, oh, I get issued them all the time. So after this mission, he got Bucky, and then he got another heater shield. And so,
and a new uniform.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
But it's because it was Captain America 255, right? The Roger Stern, John Byrne, that FDR gave him his new vibranium shield, vibranium antimanium shield.
Right.
And that was supposed to be June of 1941.
Yeah.
Now, this story takes place after the war started, right? So this had to be, because the war started in December of 1941.
For us anyway, right? For the Americans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. But if you read Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandoes #44, it says there that their first mission together was not until the fall of 1942. So,
yeah.
So there's some it's a little off in right. How it really plays out, but that's fine. Yeah. I just have my geek hat on.
Right. And we know from the Invaders series for sure that Masterman and Warrior Woman were not killed in Wakanda early on in the war.
Yes. All right. So what's all right, who goes first? Favorite panel? Well, I think it's my turn.
Do it up.
Okay. Favorite panel. All right. Yeah, this one's easy, Bob. I'm gonna go with issue 3.
Okay, bold choice.
And I'm gonna go with page 11. And I'm gonna go with panel 1. And that's when Warrior Woman is falling from the sky, and she says, "The big ones never last as long as they should."
I did not see that coming.
That's my favorite panel, Bob. What's yours?
All right, I love that. Rick, I'm an old softie. I really wanted to go with this last panel with Cap and Bucky, right? It's a great panel, but I'm going to go with issue 4, and I'm not sure the page number, but it is the panel with Nick Fury and Baron Strucker locked in mortal combat, right? Where Strucker's got both a dagger and his Luger.
That's going.
Right, and Fury is holding onto his wrist, and he's got a dagger in one hand, and they're bickering back and forth, And in the background, you see the Red Skull and his exoskeleton, and the rest of the Howlers are all like shooting it in the back. It's a great panel.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I know you like Nick Fury, so that doesn't surprise me. All right, what about T-shirt worthy, Bob? What are you putting on a T-shirt?
Well, I am going with issue 3, that image of Warrior Woman riding the air to ground bomb, right?
Like Dr. Zhivago,
like Dr. yes, like Dr. Oz, yeah. So one of those doctors, I don't know, Dr. Spock. I don't know, whatever it is, but yeah, I love that one. That one. If anything's T-shirt worthy, that one's T-shirt worthy.
Right. Yippee-ki-yay.
Yippee-ki-yay.
All right. I think we're t-shirt worthy. I'm going to go with issue 4, page 12, which is that full page splash of Cap and Black Panther coming out of the
Oh,
sky,
yeah, yeah,
right? Coming down. I think that slap that on a t-shirt.
yeah. That would be great on a t-shirt as well. Right. Absolutely. Great choice. All right.
All right, time capsule of what we think would help um, pinpoint a time for us. I'm going to go with the last page of the last issue with Cap and Bucky in front of the Capitol, with him getting his circular shield. Because obviously, if he's just getting a circular shield, that tells us that happened at a particular time, which, according to comics in issue 255, that was June of 1941. So you can't get more specific than that for a time capsule.
All right, I like that. I'm going to go something a little more obscure. Same page, Rick. The previous, panels above that with Nick Fury at the Board of Inquiry. And I'm going to go with the uniforms because we haven't those World War II greens that the Army wore. They phased those out eventually, and so I think by the late 50s, early 1960s, they had gone to a much uglier green uniform.
Mm-hmm.
And only recently, I would say that if you were to look at a picture of soldiers wearing that particular style of green uniform, you would know exactly where they're from. But within the last, I think, 6-7 years, they have transitioned back to that style and color in Army uniforms.
I would never have known any of that. So
yeah,
look at that. That's the kind of value you bring to this show, Rob.
Well, it's uniforms. One of those interesting things, at least to me, Marine Corps uniforms haven't really changed, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's we're wearing the same uniforms we wore during World War II and prior to that. Very, the materials might have changed a little bit, more man-made materials, a little bit here and there, but generally the same. The other services, their uniforms have changed, and and particularly with camouflage uniforms. You would be shocked, I think, to learn like how much money is spent to research those uniforms and then produce them. And again, all the services, even when it comes to camouflage, they show a hissy fit about getting distinctive ones, even though it would be much more cost effective for all the services to use the same camouflage pattern on their field uniforms, but they refuse to do it. So,
well, distinctive meaning for that terrain that they're going into, or distinctive for that armed forces?
No. So, for example, the Army and the Marine Corps both have 2 different patterns, I think, now for their camouflage. A sort of a dark green, what they call a woodland, and then more of a one that's more for desert, drier, arid climates, right? But those patterns are different for the Marine Corps than they are for the Army. So they're not, the Army can't wear Marine Corps ones, Marine Corps can't wear Army ones, but it would be, for the taxpayers anyway, more cost effective to just produce one. Yeah, I know.
Fascinating.
But yeah, bean counters, right?
All right. Do you have an opinion when you see somebody wearing camouflage pants out at the Walmart? They're just walking around.
I really don't. It bugs me.
Camo.
It doesn't bother me at all.
No?
It bothers me if they're wearing them with like a tactical vest and holsters slap. That sort of thing bugs me. The sort of the weekend militia sort of use of weekend warrior thing. But regular Joe wearing his surplus out. I don't. Doesn't bother me at all. I know it bothers some people a lot. But
it didn't bother me on any level other than the fact that I'm just kind of like, I'm again being a smartass. Like I will be walking, and then I'll be with my wife, and I'll be like, oh, I almost didn't see them there. Next to the Cheerio box.
Right. Yeah. I know. Hey, they're super comfortable.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Bob, can we get into who our next guest is going to be next episode?
I think it's time. I think we've made people stick around long enough.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The three people that are left, they're like, get on. It's like that old Monty Python. Get on with it. All right. I'm just going to say it. We got the Captain America symbol of truth writer, Tochi Onyebuchi. He is going to be joining the show next episode. Come back, episode 113, for writer Tochi Onyebuchi. Now, not only is he the current writer of Captain America Symbol of Truth, which is a Sam Wilson series, but he also wrote a miniseries for Black Panther. So we thought it'd be great to tie all this together, right? Because we got the Black Panther movie out and we got Tochi coming on. So what better timing?
Yeah. And as I alluded to earlier in the show, in fact, I didn't allude to it. I said it outright. We've already recorded that interview, and it was a fabulous conversation.
Yeah. He's such a nice guy.
He really was.
Yeah. He's so enthusiastic, so into he's honored, absolutely honored to be writing Captain America. And he's so thrilled to be writing Sam Wilson. And if you've not read Captain America Symbol of Truth, you're going to want to after hearing Tochi next episode.
Yeah. His enthusiasm was contagious. When I got off the recording, I was like super pumped. I went and woke my wife up and I was like, oh, you got to hear about this interview we just did.
Oh, that's cool. All right, Bob. Anything else before we run off?
I don't think so. It's been a great show.
It absolutely has. All right. He's Bob Lucius. I'm Rick Verbanis, and you have been listening to another episode of the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast. And as Woody would say, so long, partner. See how I did that? It was all full circle.
I love it. It was awesome. I'm glowing. I'm sitting here glowing in my admiration.